All right, let's get started. So, how uh, did I come up with the idea to look at the concept of lesson planning in more detail? What you may not know is that I am the instructor of the New York TESL course, and as such, I conduct teaching practices with our students. And obviously, I, from the results which I have embedded here in this course, I want people to learn more. And I made a collection of all the improvements that needed to be done, and they are here in this particular webinar. You see here the partial headline, Transforming Grammar Instruction. Why would we deal with that? Why would that be a partial headline? Can you tell me here? You are in the audience. Can you tell me why transforming grammar instruction is a partial headline here? Just speak it if you want to talk. I can also say everything, but I appreciate if you participate a little bit. Does anyone have an idea why it says transforming grammar instruction? Well, let me tell you. What we know from the past, whenever we dealt with languages as teachers, the grammar was important. People believed that if we had proficiency in the grammar, we could speak a language. Over time, we have found out that this is not the case at all. We also need to practice the other skills in language. Now, what are the other skills? Can you help me here? Well, the other skill,
Vocabulary, for
pardon?
example, grammar, vocabulary.
Yeah, we have to know vocabulary. What else do we have to know in order to become fluent in the
In order
language?
to become in
Yes,
order to become fluent in the language, we need to have a deeper understanding of the text. That means to analyze the text on a critical basis. It's not just the grammar that's going to get you through the language, or understand the text. You need to think it on the critical basis, and then
okay.
divide it into focus on tools, other tools like where is the simile, and talking about metaphor and stuff like that.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. When it comes to metaphor, then of course we are already in a level that is beyond the um, intermediate level. But you hinted towards understanding a text, and of course you said it with different words, but reading is part of it. Not only grammar, we have to become fluent at reading. What other language skills do we need in order to become fluent at a language?
Maybe to listen the language we want to learn.
Yes,
Listening also
very
helps.
good. Whoever said listening, this is so important.
And also,
I
I think, sorry, shadow, maybe to do some shadowings.
correct. So we have the grammar, which is important. We have reading, which is important. We have listening, which is important. What else do we need?
Maybe.
I
Reading and
guess
writing.
as well as writing.
Correct. And is there any other skill?
I think
There
just
are four skills for the grammar: reading, writing, listening, and speaking.
Very good. Whoever said that
maybe.
at the end here summarized again what I wanted to hear. All these skills are very important. And what I have done here
Story maybe of storytelling.
That goes into speaking, into reviewing of vocabulary. That is what retelling is. Very important, by the way. It helps us to practice the vocabulary from the piece we are listening to or we are reading. Okay, so what do we want to do today quickly is we want to talk a few words about the ESA framework, engage, study, and activate. Now, my question is, who of you knows that methodology? Engage, study, activate. This framework for a class. Who is familiar with that and could possibly explain it? Okay, if nobody wants to do that, I will help out. And so engage, study, and activate is a methodology that was created by 𝗔𝗍𝗄𝗃. And Harmer argued that compared to the PPP method, which probably some of you, if not many of you, know, here the benefit is that we don't go right away into presentation of the pattern and then practice it. We engage the student. And through that engagement, we create interest in our class. And I tell my TEFL students all the time, they should have kind of a beautiful story that goes throughout the class and ends then in a fluency activity. So if you wanted to learn more about that, then you can go to our website. Under the blogs, you can read about 𝗔𝗍𝗄𝗃 and his ESA method. Now, we talked about grammar, and we just reviewed that grammar is important, but so is reading, listening, writing, and speaking. What do you think? Is pronunciation important? Phonology? Is it imperative that we teach that?
Yes, of course. It's very important.
Why?
Actually, pronunciation is very crucial to learning English and teaching it, because if you mispronounce a word, it may not mean the same. So it's part of the teaching framework. Word, meaning, form, and pronunciation, all four of them are integrated in teaching vocabulary.
You are absolutely right. In our communicative language teaching, all areas of language are important. And you just underlined that by saying pronunciation too. And I tell you what, I was born in a non-English speaking country. And I learned English at school initially. And when I eventually came to an English speaking country, although I had dealt with English professionally at schools, it was not the same. I had difficulties initially understanding each and every person. Obviously, I was able to understand highly educated people, but if we go down the ladder, then that was a little bit difficult. And I would estimate after my arrival in an English-speaking country, it took me about 3 months to understand each and everything people would speak. Initially, I would always say, pardon, pardon, to have them review that. Not only that I wouldn't know the language, but as you know, every person speaks a little differently. And the sound of their language is a little bit unique to their person. And to come to that point that you understand everything, you really have to have a good training in pronunciation. And I stress that in all my classes because it's horrible if you don't understand and the other one doesn't understand. So phonology is just as important. Now, so we talked about the ESA methodology, the core framework, which we teach in our TEFL course, also in the level 5 course, whereas the level 5 course has several methodologies besides that. So we started talking about engage. And this is a phase which is of utmost importance because you have to basically set the scene for what is to come, and you have to create interest with the students. Now, what I experience as a TEFL course instructor is that people say either already experienced teachers or prospective teachers. They say, today we are going to teach or learn grammar. Do you like such a class? If the teacher starts like that, today we are going to learn grammar.
No.
Honestly, as a student, I disliked grammar classes. Unlike now, I find it interesting to make grammar really attractive. As a teacher, I find it interesting. As a student, I was deadly bored when the teacher would start like that. I don't want to ask how many of you start your class like that. Today, we are going to learn grammar, and we are going to learn the superlative. I'm asking you, who of the students who never heard about superlative would know what you are talking about if you start your class like that? Now, engage should be different. I told you already that there has to be a beautiful story all the way throughout our class, and engage sets the scene. So, as an example of engage, I would probably say, if I want to teach the superlative, today we are going to have a look at houses, and we want to figure out which house would you buy if you were a buyer. Now that sounds a little bit more lively, and it sounds like something that could be experienced through the student, and maybe they experienced that in their life if the parents did that. So that sounds more, okay, today I'm going to learn something useful. And then I ask them where they live right now. And they have to tell me whether an apartment or they live in a house, give me a description. And before we have a look at houses, we want to learn how to figure out which house is the best. And now I start my study. I teach the superlative, and we are going through the rules. I don't want to do that here. If you are an English teacher, you are familiar with the rules of the superlative. And finally, after we practice the superlative, we play salesperson and buyer, and they have a look at beautiful houses. And at the end, they have to say which house they want to buy and why. And that would be the activate. And that is a different kind of class than if I start, oh, today we learned the grammar, we learned the superlative. Now tell me something more interesting. So, and then in activate, you just have to say the superlative, and then you say goodbye. Now, the class where I show videos about beautiful houses. We talk about the features, and we reason why we would buy this one and not the other ones, is much more engaging and interesting. And that is what we have to achieve with the ESA method. And through that flow, creating interest in the housing market, studying the grammar, and then finally talk about a house purchase, my students will participate much more than in another class. I remember my own classes. The teacher would write the vocabulary on the board and would say, those are the words we learned today. This is how he started the English class. It could not have been more boring in a way. So we have to think about how we make classes attractive for our students. I talked already about the engage phase. It says here it's a hook. What does that mean, it's a hook? I'm asking you out there, what is a hook?
Hook may be a word or some sentence that will engage students before reading activity.
Correct. We bring something which sparks their interest, and that would be another expression for the hook. Now, from what you do if you engage your students, if there are some of you out there who pay attention to that, how do you engage your students?
Like as for me, whenever before starting the lesson, I maybe show a picture and then we can start talking about the picture or watch a video again to talk about the video, like to warm them up, then start the lesson.
Correct. Very good. So we have, you mentioned pictures, you mentioned videos. We could even play a piece of music, read some poetry in a more advanced class, and all things that would capture their attention and, most importantly, are related to what I'm going to do in the class. Now, we talked about the study phase. Is there anyone who can help me out there, who can say it in general terms, not read it here? In general terms, what do we do in study? Yes, Jana?
After the hook, students may notice patterns, make guesses, give ideas or examples, and then the teacher guides them. We guide them to understand the rules and language plotting.
Yeah. So in this phase, we study the actual language. Remember, I said to you, our teacher where I learned English said, today we are going to learn the grammar and we are going to learn the superlative. Nobody of us knew what it was. And so that is phase 2, the study phase. Yet we would never ever start the study phase in the way I sampled it. This is a terrible example and should teach you not to do it like that. Now, it says here, when we deal in the study phase, we have inductive learning. And do you have any method, you as teachers, that would facilitate inductive learning?
What I do is that I give them the proper criteria to follow. Just like because I teach senior grades, so say it's argumentative essay or something. So some children don't have an idea on what is an argumentative essay. So we take real life examples, like how do you argue at home or something, and then I give them the criteria, how to introduce the topic, and then the main body paragraph, then counter argument or rebuttal, and then finally the conclusion. And at each stage, how they have to give a logical explanation to it. Like if you're going to give an example or you're going to talk about it, it should make sense to the topic sentence. So first thing is to study is, what is the topic sentence? What are we going to study today? Is it poetry? Is it an essay or something? And from the topic sentence, just pick it out, just extract it from there, and then go on. This is what I do. Give them a proper criteria, a framework, so that they can follow in their writing task.
Yeah, it depends on what you teach. If the class I mentioned with the houses for purchase would be my class, I would start with inductive learning. And inductive learning is by practicing the direct method. Does everybody know here what the direct method is? If there is anyone out there who doesn't know, should come forward so I explain it. I skip it if everybody knows. Okay, after the inductive learning in which I practice, here in our case, the superlative, then we review the whole thing again and uncover the rules and patterns. So I don't tell them, today we are going to do that. I start talking to them, and within the conversation, I teach them what I have to teach. Otherwise, I could also, in the study phase, do a deductive mini lecture. Deductive is I'm giving the rules. And I would say in English, if you have, as an example, adjective, two-syllable adjectives ending in Y, the superlative would be the easiest. And in that way, I give them the rule. This is deductive mini lecture. And then you can have peer-to-peer teaching, that they do activities together during which they practice with each other and check each other for the correctness of the activity. Those would be the three forms we can use during the study phase. And the last phase in the ESA method is the activate phase. And the activate phase is the fluency activity. That means in that phase, we would play salesperson and buyer, and we would role play how we purchase the house, what we are going to say. We can have, besides the role playing, we could even have a debate between people who are related and come to buy the house together, and they debate whether or not they should buy the house. And at the end, I could have my students write a summary about why they would buy this particular house, and practice whatever we have done in an old fashion in writing. And that is very important, that in each session we have some writing at the end or throughout our instructions. So that is the ESA method. And that's what we practice in New York, and it works perfectly in bringing students to talking about their own life using the structures we have practiced in class. Is there any question on your part out there about the method? I understand that not all of you are familiar with that, and it may have been new to some of you. Okay, now, although I practice that in the classes, students or prospective teachers always have a little trouble becoming proficient in defining pedagogical objectives. But if you have to finalize a lesson plan, and you have to give it to the vice principal for review, or you apply at a school and they want you to prepare a lesson plan because they know very well. Teachers who know their subject, they know about all of that, what I'm explaining to you now, perfectly. And so I have a lot of my students who told me then afterwards, oh yeah, we had to do a lesson plan. And I personally think if I was to hire a teacher for my school, I wanted to have somebody who can prepare a proper class. Why is a proper class important? Number one, the students should feel their progress. Number two, they should be engaged in class and look forward to coming to school rather than to say, oh my God, today I have this lady and she always bugs us with the irregular verbs or whatever they learn at the moment. So in our lesson plan, we have enabling objectives and we have terminal objectives. What if anybody knows, whoever it is, they can help me. What's the difference between enabling and terminal objective? Would anybody know? If not, I say it. So enabling objectives is what we learn in class. For instance, I refer again to my house buying lesson. What we learn about the language here is vocabulary, and we learn the superlative. So those are the two things we learn about the language. So I would write, students learn the following vocabulary: porch, swimming pool, whatever there is in a modern house. B, students learn the superlative. And there is something else what students learn. They learn the strategy how to buy a house. You don't go into a real estate company and you say, oh, I want to buy a house. And you know already what you have to bring in information. You know what is important for you to look at. You expect the real estate agent to help you. And so with this class, we learn what it takes to purchase a home. And that is something students have to learn too. So that is enabling objectives. In short, everything about the language. The terminal objective is the final goal of the class. And in my house buying class, the final goal is that the students role play buying a house. Everything under enabling objectives they have to learn in order to be eventually able to successfully speak to somebody about the entire process, finalizing a house purchase contract. Or as it shows here, if you want to apply for a job, you have to be able to conduct a successful job interview about yourself. So the terminal objective is a fluency activity, and students speak about their own environment, what happens in their life. Enabling objective is how the language is constructed, how certain processes in life work. Now, here we have some examples. And I think you can read the examples to yourself. I don't have to read them out to you. and we want to practice that. Is there any question? If not, I continue to the next slide and we practice it. Yes, Liana, did you have a question? Is everything you can see here, is it understood? Or is there doubt here where you have a question? Please come forward and ask. This is a unique opportunity. I can't come with you. You have to ask here. If it makes sense to everybody, we go a step further. So now we want to practice categorizing the learning objectives. You tell me, and we do that together, whether it's a terminal objective or enabling objective. Who could quickly tell me what the difference between the two objectives is? I just want to make sure you all know that and have the ability to do things right here. Jana.
Enabling objectives, small steps students learn during the lesson, vocabulary, grammar, practice, and terminal objective, final goal, what students can do at the end of the lesson. So real communication task.
Yeah.
So the final result.
Correct. Very good, Jana. Thank you. Now, let's look at the first one. Use past tense verbs correctly in written narratives. What would that be? Terminal or enabling objectives?
That would be a terminal objective.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Enabling objective.
Very good. It's about the language. Next, write a coherent 5-paragraph persuasive essay. What would that be?
Enabling.
Terminal.
Why would it be terminal? Whoever said terminal, can you please explain? Because we heard the opposite here. Why is it terminal?
Because you're actually applying the skill.
Correct. Nobody tells you now how to write it. You have to write it on your own, and most likely you get a topic which is not set in that activity, but you have to do it on your own. The teacher is not here to help you anymore. What about this identify subject-verb agreement in a peer review?
It's enabling.
And why?
Because it enables you, it gives you the opportunity to use the subject and verb agreement to know how to use.
Yeah, and that goes into the area of grammar, and
how to
we
implement
understand the concept. Correct. It's about the language. We dissect the language. Next one, deliver an effective 5-minute presentation.
Terminal objective.
Oh, you are so good. You said that in a choir. That was so good. I'm so happy because, yes, that's what it is. And why is it like that?
Because you're going to prepare it and then deliver it. You have been enabled by the teacher how to do the presentation. Now it's your part to deliver it.
Correct. And I usually tell students, just think about it. Do you create language or is it given to you? Well, it's creation here. So it's terminal objective. What about the next one? Our punctuation.
That is also terminal one.
Does everybody agree?
No, I think it's enabling.
And why?
Because whatever refers to grammar and rules, it is enabling objective because it teaches the students how to do things, how to use the grammar properly. But whenever it refers to terminal objective, it is about presentation, essays, the final goal, the product. So that's the way I think.
Correct. And when we practice punctuation, the teacher probably introduces the punctuation rules, and then at the end they have a little text where the students have to put in the punctuation marks to check it out. And that's all enabling objective. It contributes later on to a terminal objective, but not initially. So now use appropriate transition words. For all those who don't know what transition words are, what are they?
We don't know, I guess.
Okay, if you don't know, I'm here to tell you. Transition words are consequently, as a result, additionally, what else?
Furthermore.
Pardon?
Furthermore.
Very good. Yes, those are
Although,
transition
yes.
words. And they,
Therefore.
yeah, excellent. They create a coherence of the entire writing, the transition words. Okay? Now, and is that enabling or terminal?
That is enabling.
Very good. It's a prerequisite for writing good essays, but it's not the essay. Next, conduct a formal job interview.
Terminal. Definitely that one.
Yeah, and why?
It's terminal.
Why? How would you explain that? I have students who said to me, well, isn't that practice we do? That's what they said. How would you explain it? Well, students create their own language. And if they create their own language, it's terminal. Now, recognize conditional sentence structures.
Enabling objective.
Okay, it goes into the area of grammar. Then
Yes.
summarize the main...
Recognizing structures.
Yeah. What about the next one? Summarize the main points.
It's terminal.
It's terminal, I think. It's terminal.
Why is it terminal? Explain it to me. Isn't terminal objective?
Isn't that the exit slip one? When you summarize the main point at the end, when you finish the lecture and everything, and then you ask the students, that's called
their own language.
exit slip.
Is there anyone else who has a different opinion?
Students use their own language, yes?
But didn't they read the news article before? Didn't they acquire the language first? If I read about the lady who was attacked by a crocodile today in Florida, I didn't know about it. After I had read the news article, I knew about the lady, and it was a horrible accident that happened. But when I tell you that story, I use the same words I read in the article. So it's not a terminal objective. It's kind of, you read a text and then the main ideas, or let's say specific information is brought to light, and that is not a terminal objective. That is an enabling objective. The terminal objective would be, has there any such accident happened which you are aware of in your life? That would be terminal. And I create that with my own language. I didn't read it anywhere. This is a typical mistake which people make when they have to determine enabling objective. They feel they read the article, they retell it, that's it. But that's not language creation. Language creation is if I tell you about a story I experienced on my own, not reading it anywhere. And the last one?
It's a terminal objective.
Very, very good.
Because it shows final performance. We have here a role play activity.
Correct. And yeah, And that's absolutely right. So we did that, and you did a remarkable job. And I hope whatever I explained here to you, you understand that and will act accordingly if it comes back to you at one point. So retelling texts is enabling objectives. Okay? So now I have a little activity here for you. And we are at the end of level 1. And the terminal objective is that the students have to talk about their past weekend, and we have to create enabling objectives. What would you teach your students if the terminal objective is that they have to talk about whatever they did the past weekend?
First of all, we will talk about
vocabulary needed, some
Okay,
words, and
good.
past form of the verb.
Very good. So we
and
have
the
two.
grammar.
Whoever
Whether it is to be count writing, so you have to
past
tell them
simple,
what form of
past form.
writing it is.
correct, whoever said vocabulary we have to teach
Yes.
is
I got it.
absolutely right. So we need some vocabulary. We teach it under enabling objective 1. What would
Also
be
some keywords.
yes? What would be enabling objective 2?
Brainstorming.
Pardon?
Brainstorm the idea. Like if they're going to write on a topic, they should have the brainstorm. That will enable them to write a final draft.
Okay. Yes.
𝗙𝗵𝗴.
Yeah, I basically wanted to put together with you what is needed, and then I have a different activity where you can do it on your own. So we learned some vocabulary. You are correct. Then number 2, what else do we have to learn to do that terminal objective? We have to learn verbs. Now, in English, do we have one type of verbs, or what do you know about it?
We should learn the past tense that is using not only regular verbs, but also irregular verbs.
Very good. So, what else do we, so regular verbs would be here number 2, irregular verbs would be number 3. Is there anything?
Adverbs that we use in past form. For example, yesterday, last year.
Okay.
And also some keywords about past simple. For
Very
example,
good.
yesterday, last day, for example.
Correct. You want to use time expressions, and we could use time expressions here. It depends on how we schedule the class. Now our students would be ready to tell us about their weekend. If they are in level 1, obviously they are a little bit restricted with vocabulary and whatever we taught them. Then it's a good idea if we have some sample text.
Samples, okay.
Yeah, which they can read and then talk about it, and then they are enabled to talk about their own weekend. So that would be this class.
We can
I
also
think
ask them
I
to
can
watch
answer
some
questions.
videos on YouTube about past simple, about weekends.
Okay, good. Yes. Now we are slowly coming towards the end, although you worked so well with me, I don't like to see you go. So here we have how to write a formal complaint email about a faulty product. The terminal objective would be the email students write. And what do they have to learn to be able then to write this email? What do you think? Let's say they are intermediate students, not very beginner ones. What do you think they have to learn under
First of
number
all,
one.
they
They should
have
learn
to
the
learn,
structure of a formal letter.
yeah, how to
Very
form
good.
a complaint.
Excellent. That's enabling objective 1. Students learn about the structure of complaint email. What do you think is enabling objective 2?
It can be vocabulary, some keywords, how to form a complaint, and what words to use about a faulty product. And
Okay.
also how to end the formal complaint.
Yeah, that goes
The
into
structure.
enabling objective 1.
1 and
What
2.
about the address, the salutation, and then the end of the letter? That is number 1. And
And number 2
enabling,
will be the vocabulary.
yeah, and enabling objective number 3.
A story for that prompt.
Very
Like you
good.
said
You
yourself.
can give the students different letters. They read them and they have to retell them. And then they are enabled to finally write their own complaint letter. That was very good. And at the end, I wanted to mention something about the context. What do you understand with context?
I think words, grammar, ideas, so real situation and meaningful example.
Correct. You said
Coherent ideas also.
Yeah, you said meaningful situation, very important. And that is, I'm bringing that because I told you already, I watch a lot of teachers in teaching practice, and they very often confuse the context. They think the context is the enabling objective. No, it's not. The context is the situation in which my teaching is embedded. So coming back to the example of the house purchase is the meaningful situation, the context. And so the context is very important. That is what makes students be interested in your class. We have to find out what they would like to talk about to always have classes that engage our students. And finally, some essential principles for grammar delivery. And what does that mean here? Prioritize meaning over form. How would you explain that? Well, meaning is
Prioritizing meaning over form means that does the text even makes like what is the meaning of it? Does it make sense to the student?
correct.
For the purpose of communicating to bridge make a gap to be filled
Okay.
between communicating the text and actually teaching it.
Yeah. So in other words, the nice story is more important than the form. We can practice whatever grammar it is another time, but the story has to be interesting for our students and individualize. Is that applicable to your life? Do you do the same in your life? And in that way, we individualize.
Could you just explain that a little more? How we are a little stuck in that. How do we individualize the concepts to the student?
Very simple. For instance, I talk about immigration, and at the end of my class, I ask the students, so now you're here. Which country do you like better, your home country or the US? And they tell me how they feel about it, and I take their opinion. So that's what we do. And that is individualized. Every student tells their own opinion. Okay?
Okay,
Or
thank you so much.
if we talk about money, I ask them after they learned the money, what about you? How much? I tell them they should just tell me a number. How do you budget? How much money do you pay for electricity? And we individualize about the students. Okay, any other question? And finally, when we go forward, we engage through curiosity, we study through induction. Induction is when we teach it and the student discover the rules, and we activate through real-world scenarios. That is important. And with that, thank you for coming.